Here we are with Delesh's 1978 Mercedes. If you've been following along for a while, we've done quite a bit of work to this car. I just remember back in the day when I got the initial email from Delesh. Like I've said before, probably the most organized customer inquiry I've ever gotten in an email. He knew what he wanted. He knew all the nuances of the car. He knew all the stuff that I didn't know about a Mercedes. And for me, I looked at like the old Beverly Hills Cop movie where they drove around in this car with 15-inch wheels and it sat like a four-wheel drive in comparison to where this does. And that's what I remembered. Or you would see the Pope riding in it where it's got two great big flags on the front of it. And to see where it's come from where we started, and see the involvement with the client in the car, and to see the dream of what he was envisioning come to fruition has been cool. To see the excitement that he has, to see just how cool this car's become one of the favorites in the shop of just it being different. It's low, it's gonna be fast, it's gonna handle good, it's got really bitchin' parts. Obviously, it takes a bunch of work to get some of this made and designed and fabricated and do all the integration that all the different departments have done in this car. But to see it come to this point where we're ready to measure the final dimensions for the wheels, to get the fitment just right, to get the shock dimension just right so that we can nail the ride height where the shocks are at the absolute perfect length for the ride height we have, to get everything dialed on this car, to get the ride and handling, get the looks, the stance, the details, everything that we wanted to do that we would do on and have done on so many other cars, but to do it on something that's so different that was not even on my radar has been quite a journey for all of us. So starting at the top, obviously we've shaved the sunroof because it takes up a lot of room inside. It just isn't really needed for the style of car that we're doing, and going from there. Then we've been working on deleting this panel, not to shave it, but to make one that's functional, that still allows some vent and fresh air into the car, but also gives clearance for the engine. But also because it's so tight in here, we had to move the engine back to keep the engine under the hood, because you're just not putting a scoop or a bump or a bulge or anything like that on the hood of this Mercedes. As you look over the car, you can see that there's dots everywhere, and that's because we've pretty much scanned the entirety of the car through multiple different scans. We've gained a lot to get the front, to get everything clearanced in the front of the car, to design the underhood structure, to design the closeout panels that we're doing to dress up the engine bay to give it a Mercedes AMG vibe. So at this point, we have the culmination on the exterior of the car. We took and got rid of those bumpers that I believe the stock bumpers stuck out like this far. Apparently in 78, the Mercedes had to get for their American standards, they had to put these bumpers in between the bumpers so that if you were to get into an accident, you would just collapse those pieces and not actually have some type of collision safety features in the bumpers themselves. And so they stick out like a four-wheel drive bumper. There's almost enough room to put a winch on the front of the car. They stick out so much. And so we purchased some Euro bumpers. They took 3 or 4 months to get. They came and they didn't fit good at all. They weren't straight. They were going to take a ton of work to achieve what we wanted. And as we've covered before, we have now machined the bumpers to make the pieces. So we machined this outer piece, the inner pieces. We left this thick so that we can play with the dimensions to fine tune this fitment, to get the fitment really dialed on the bumpers as you go around. The other thing we've done is we thought that it needed to have a little bit of rubber in here to just can maintain some of that OEM vibe and not get full on show car. And so these pieces were also machined, but have been painted to look black like rubber. So when the bumpers are chromed, this would be a flat black or a semi-gloss black that will just give it a look of a rubber bumper. Then as we move our way down, you can see where George has really gotten carried away with this design of the lower valence. We've put the grills in here that we've had machined. This piece that holds a JW speaker fog light. Then it has a center grill. Then we designed the mold to make this carbon fiber lower valence. Then we made this piece out of aluminum so that it will hold everything structurally to the car and just be a quick piece to bodywork and throw on the car because it needs minimal work to finish it up. This piece will obviously get painted body color when it goes all together. So we've trimmed everything on the back side to get all of this stuff to mount. Now we'll take it off and finish everything. As you can see up here, you have these turn signals and the headlights, and the lines just kind of maintain some of this style of what is the Mercedes, but we're going to clean up some of these lenses and these surrounds to make them just a little bit cleaner than what was originally done. Under all the masking tape, we have the LED JW speaker lights that are here, and we've just got tape on them to keep them clean. We're gonna run the stock grill, but just clean everything up to make it, this would be chrome, this would be blasted, polished, all those pieces would go together with the rest of the car. So as we work our way down the side of the car here, you'll see that we've used the outside aero mirrors that Intech Auto and BBT Fab are selling. We've designed our own mount to bolt here in place of the original one, but this puts a much better quality mirror and allows us to use the shape of the mirror that he has with the adjustable features inside the mirror itself. Below that, you can see the trim that we've made to go back in place of the old trim to get a much less rubber. The other thing we've done is we've 3D printed the gasket that goes behind this to hold the machined rubber, and then once again, the machined aluminum that will look like rubber. From there, we're just gonna keep and maintain all the stock door handles. We have started positioning the shifter in here from I believe it's from a CTSV 10 speed. And so we position that in the car. We're getting everything laid out in the car to start designing the interior parts, to do the dash, to do the center console, and do those types of things. The other thing that we've incorporated in this car is using the same seats that we use in the Legacy Series Chevelles. They just work good. We have a lot of the design stuff already for them, so we can design some custom parts to go on that easily. And you can see how far back the engine has been moved into the car and the seats have been moved back to counteract for the positioning of the engine, while still maintaining room in the back seat. So as we move our way back in the car, you'll see that we're gonna maintain the stock gas door because that's just one of the features. Obviously, we'll get rid of the unleaded gas only sticker that's on the outside, and we'll get the bumpers kind of dialed in to get the fitment of this piece right, because we just wanna make it usable. There's a point where you wanna keep some of the OEM vibe, and there's a point where you wanna make it usable, and it's just one of the features of the car. Another feature that Delesh brought up a long time ago that we'll probably maintain is the rear headrest on the package tray. And I never really thought about it until he said it, but if you go down the highway and you see a car in front of you that has rear headrests in the back, you just know, even if you're not a Mercedes guy like I was, that that's one of these model cars. You're just used to seeing them whether you realize it or not. So as we come further back, you'll see that the bumpers are very similar to the bumpers in the front. They have the adjustments that we can sand down and weld the gaps before we go to chrome to adjust the fitment. You can see the start of the lower valence as you come down here. And we scanned and machined the rear valence from multiple pieces that will all be coated to look as if it was an OEM black insert piece that would go in the car. We have not yet machined the exhaust tips. We'll do that very soon as we scan the final placement of the machined rear valence and the car and where the exhaust ended up. So as you look in the trunk, let's see if I can remember, just push the button. You'll see that it has a very similar tank to what we used in the Legacy Series Chevelles as well. You can see that we've made the plumbing to go up to the stock gas door. You can see the battery mount that we've made up into the middle so that we can make the trunk panels as wide as possible. This allows easy access to the fuel pump if you have issues with that, or the sending unit for the fuel level, but it also just allows it to not hang as far down below the car so that we can tuck the valence up tight and clean to the car so that the view from behind looks really good. As we progress forward, we're gonna work on these taillight lenses to make these all one piece and one color so that they don't have the multicolor pieces and it would look very stockish, but just be one piece instead of 4 different colors in 4 different pieces. So from here, we will develop the shock links that go on the car, and we will use the valving that we've used in the Legacy Series Chevelles to go in some JRI shocks that we will install into the Morrison suspension that's under this car. And from there, we will also finalize the wheel measurements to purchase the HRE wheels. And I believe we already have the Michelin tires for this car sourced. We already have the Wilwood brakes for this car sourced. And we will continue to just get the details as we go together with the intentions of unveiling this car in the Motul oil booth at SEMA 2025. So as you can see, we still have the same air intake piping that we have to keep the length in here for the mass airflow sensor to be happy. And we started developing these interior panels that will close out some of the engine to kind of hide that it's an LT4, but also just give the car a vibe under the hood of a Mercedes. You can see a 3D printed panel that we've made to allow fresh air to come in from underneath the hood that will put fresh air into the air cleaner, and it'll also do the same thing from underneath. And you can see in the renderings that we'll attach in this video of just the direction we're going with the blower lid, the valve covers, some of the panel we're gonna make to close out this gap in between the radiator and here, and some of the ways that we're just dealing with airflow to get cool air in there and also get rid of the hot air in other directions of the car. One of the last details we need to finish out is just how we're gonna terminate the firewall around the engine as we get everything placed on the firewall. We've made the down bars from the firewall down to the frame just to mount the hood hinge springs to, because they just work so good. They don't make a set of aftermarket hinges for this, and we're just kind of tired of some of the gas shocks that they wear out after a year or two and a lot of the billet hinges. So we've just decided that it would work really well to keep the spring, keep some of the OEM look, and make this car look very OEM Mercedes. The vision that the customer had, we've been able to bring forth through quite a few different departments in the shop. We've been able to work on the graphic design of starting with renderings and images to bring Delesh's ideas to fruition. And we've also been able to do that as we scan and design, print. The only thing we don't do in-house is machine the parts, because there's just so many people with CNC machines that are trying to keep them loaded up and working. And it's just one less equipment that we have to have in here, and you don't have to listen to the noise all day. A lot of the direction that we have for the cars that we build here at Ironworks are just making stuff that is very highly functional, very usable, styled in whatever manner that you may envision. If you feel like you have an interesting project like this that you would like to invest the effort into a car for the enjoyment of the process and the enjoyment of the build, we'd love to hear from you. If you've got some crazy Aston Martin, or you got some Jaguar, or you got another Mercedes, we've had discussions of other guys who want to build an E190 style car similar to this, just doing different kinds of cars like that. We're very interested in doing that. From older Porsches to older Mercedes, whatever you'd like to do, these are kind of an enjoyment that we have if you really want to change the stance and the suspension and the drivability and make these cars where you can really use them and have them feel like a new car from the way they drive and the way they work, but also carry that vintage vibe of whatever car you're wanting to start with. And so if you have any interest in those things, I would encourage you just to go to our website and click on the link that says Custom Car Build Inquiry, and just put the information in there and we will be in contact with you. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.